everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And I am working on putting together the journal for all of the ephemera that I created last month in December. And I've worked on this signature, and what I've been trying to do is find ways to incorporate the ephemera that I made into a journal that I can keep. So for this one, I made a little pocket for this jumbo tag, and I used some acetate that I had left over, some scraps of that. And I know this particular challenge required that we use a toucan, so I used these two little toucans. But before I decided on using those, I had also cut out these toucans, this one from a bird book and this one from the antiquarian sticker book. So I thought, well, why waste them? I'll just go ahead and put them in the journal anyway, along with the cards that you could print out from 49 Dragonflies or Louisa Heinzel's channel. So I didn't print out any of these cards until I was all done making the ephemera, because I wanted to find my own animals to use in the challenges. But what I decided to do was to print out the cards after the challenge was over and incorporate them into this journal. And just things that I've been finding on my desk that I thought I would use in the challenge but decided not to for whatever reason, and I'm going ahead and incorporating them. So this is just a tea bag that I Mod Podged on and just sewed into as a tab, sewed onto this page as a tab, and then some of this eyelash trim that I had attached to this little clip. And so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and put it in here. Anyway, just little scraps of fabric that were left over. And so I'm just trying to use up everything that was on my desk and create the journal. Now I'm not going to finish the cover until I'm all done with the signatures. And so far, I think I have 3 signatures. And the cover that I want to use is this piece of wallpaper collage that I did months and months ago. I was originally going to use it as a flow journal, but what I decided to do is to try to use it as a cover for the Ephemera journal. And I'm hoping that this spine will be wide enough, and if not, then I'll just do a little book surgery and make the spine wider. So I'm pretty done with this signature, I think. We'll see as I go along. Excuse me. And now I'm working on this signature and putting some of the pieces together for here. This is one where the challenge was using grunge and a snippet strip and a mouse. So I had originally cut this mouse out of a book that I have, and I wasn't going to use it. Instead, I used these 2 little mice and made a little journal card out of it. But I decided, since I already had it cut out, I would trim it a little bit further and just kind of tuck it behind this little snippet strip, and I think it's pretty cute there. And I included this from the book Charlotte's Web, where it says, he said that the words on the spider's web proved that human beings must always be on the watch for the coming of wonders. And that's kind of what this little mouse looks like he's saying. And then also from the book, the rat had no consideration. So just trying to incorporate a little bit of whimsy in there. So what I would like to do today is to make a belly band on this side of the page to sort of match the snippet strip on the opposite page. But what I want to do first is to grunge up this side of the page a little bit, do some more collaging. I just lined it with some dictionary page and then did some inking around it. I've got some fabric here and some tulle that I have no idea where this tulle came from, but it looks, I mean, it's kind of a weird color, but it will go really well with the rest of this, so we'll see how that works out. And then I've also got some paper and music page and just some scraps that were sitting on my desk, and this piece of burlap that I want to use as a base. And the idea is to be able to put my journal card and the card from the challenge in this belly band. So that's my goal moving forward. So let's go ahead and take some of these scraps and and kind of grunge them up a little bit, and then collage some on here, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to set this aside for a moment and take some of these music scraps and copy dyed paper scraps and some Edith Holden, and I'm going to go ahead and tear these up a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to use these just yet, but we'll see. Mostly I just want to get them kind of grungy looking. This was an experiment that I decided I didn't really, it doesn't matter. I didn't like it. So my intention on that was to take some of the distress spray stains, the ones that were the mica, and to see if I could stamp on top of it. And I don't know why I didn't finish it. I just never got that far. So you probably had experiments like that too, where you didn't finish them and then you wonder, what in the world am I going to do with it? Well, this is what I'm doing with it. Tearing it up. And I think I'll just go ahead and leave the holes. I don't remember why I was cutting these holes. Maybe because I wanted a piece of this to use somewhere. A little circle. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. And I've got some line paper. And even if I don't use all of these scraps in this project today, then I'll have some grunged up scraps to use in another project. We just keep creating more and more scraps. Whoever uttered the phrase, use up all our scraps, I don't think they were really a junk journaler, because using up all our scraps is kind of impossible, because every time we do anything, we create more and more scraps. When I first started junk journaling, I had a little envelope. I mean, like a, what was it, 4x9-inch envelope to keep my scraps in. Oh boy. So obviously I have far more than that now. I have 3 binders full, plus what's on my desk. All right, so that can go over there. This is what I have. Let's add this one. Some coffee dyed paper that got a little too warm in the oven. And I have some of my spray stains that I'm just going to start spraying. And wherever they land, they land. That was Wild Honey, and this is Vintage Photo. Ooh, some of them are really dark. That's okay. This is Antique Linen. And this is Walnut Stain. We are hoping to take a trip next month, which will be February, down to California in our motorhome. So I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to take with me to do videos with. So that'll be interesting. Okay, now, okay, here we go. This is my big method. And then we just kind of play with it. And does this remind you of when you were a kid in kindergarten? You know, I tell people, if you get to be 60 years old and you haven't grown up yet, then you just don't have to. So I'm a firm believer in I don't have to. And then sometimes I also think that when I was little, my favorite thing to do was to be in my room playing with paper, scissors, and glue. And now that I've had my working life and I'm done with that now, my favorite thing to do is sit in my room and play with paper, scissors, and glue. So if this is my second childhood, man, I'm loving it. Trying to figure out, why wouldn't you want to have a second childhood if this is what you get to do? Who's with me? Are you with me? Leave me a note in the comments. Let's get something going. Okay, so these are pretty grungy, and I kind of like the way they've turned out. And so I'm just going to give these a real quick dry and be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to stay on this side of the page because I don't know what is going to be facing this side of the page yet. I may end up doing the same kind of thing on the other page. But now that I've got these all done, let's get them down on, get them down. And I think it's going to look really cool. So I don't know if you're of the same mind, but making things look grungy, I think, is so much fun. Not that I don't like things that end up really pretty and feminine and romantic too, because I like that as well. But there's something about this process of making things grungy that I think is kind of a blast. And I don't have to think too much about where these are going. Remember, there's going to be the burlap belly band on top of it. We do want to make sure that all the edges are glued down really well. So for all of the people in California on the coast dealing with the big storm, another one here, I hope you're all staying safe and dry and warm. I have a few friends that one of them lives in the mountains there, and one of them lives right on the coast in the Mendocino area, and so I'm a little concerned about them. My friend that lives in the mountains has already, she's lost power, so not a big surprise there, as she put it. But I'm really hoping, and she, living in the mountains, it's kind of scary when you think about all the trees that are around her. So I hope there's no damage. Wind is a scary thing. We have our property was, well, the property next to us was vacant for quite a long time, but there were lots of big trees on it, and I was always really, really worried that the trees were, going to fall right on our bedroom. Thankfully, that never happened, but it was quite nerve-wracking, and, so I had mixed emotions about clearing that property. I mean, on the one hand, I really liked the fact that the, property had raccoons, and you could see them. We saw baby raccoons coming down out of the trees, and, so it was really cute. Oh, I kind of like that green right there, just for fun. But there's a house on it now, and it's for sale. So I hope we get nice neighbors. So I'm clearly not spending a lot of time thinking about where all these pieces are going. They're just getting put down here wherever they end up. Okay, I think that's going to do it. But I do want to add some, different tones in here. So I'm going to use some vintage photo. And some rusty hinge. And I'll spray it with water. So I'm going to give that a quick dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's pretty dry. Now the next thing I want to do here before I start working on the belly band itself is to add a little bit of gesso and put some in this little cup here, add some water. And I've just got a little piece of cardboard. I just cut my cardboard down a little bit so it'll fit in this cup better. Okay, so we'll let that dry, and let's see, get this. Oh, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and let this dry, and then get to work on the belly band itself. Okay, so here we have a piece of burlap, and I've cut it to be the height of my page. And I've got some of this chintzy rug fabric, and I've got some more, I've got them in like different colors here. I've got some of this animal print. Grab some scissors. And cut this down and tear it down. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, here's some more of that chintzy rug fabric, and it's a really strange pattern, but I thought it would work well for this, so let's cut some of it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew on these strips in a very random pattern without really thinking about it too much, and then come back. Okay, progress is being made. So here's what I have so far for the belly band. And what I did is I literally just laid the strips of fabric on top of the burlap. I didn't care when I sewed over it if it folded over on itself. I kind of liked that actually. And then just sort of sewed just in a really crazy haphazard way, just enough to be able to anchor them down. And you can see there's still some that are lifting up. That's fine. I really like that because it just looks really messy and grungy. Not done with it yet though. And now that this is dry, I want to add some washi tape to some of the spots. Just to add a little bit more interest. just in a few spots here and there. Got a couple of different widths of washi. This is Tim Holtz washi tape. I don't use my washi tape as much as I should. I've got quite a bit of it, and it's fun to add to journals as just little extra bits of interest. So this is a good place for me to use it, I guess. Put one more piece on the opposite side. Not there. Okay, and I can add more if I want to later. So let's work with this a little bit more. What I would like to do, let's put this back on, is to take some pieces of this grungy paper, and on this one I just kind of crumpled it into like a little bow shape, and I took a piece of fabric and I tore it, and now it's really frayed, and I'm just going to tie it around this little bow. Do a few of these. There's a narrow strip of the leopard print. My goal with this belly band is to make it look like mice have gotten to it. Okay, I like that. So let's put a little bit of fabric tack down and add these little bows. And now I can trim the edges. Fray them up a little bit. And I think it's about ready to go on the page. Well, I thought I was ready to get it glued onto the page, but then I realized what it needed is some buttons to make it, just to give it that final little oomph. So I'm just going to put some embroidery floss through the holes in these buttons, tie it in a knot, and then glue the buttons on. I have 11 billion buttons because a while back I put a little note in the Facebook marketplace if anybody had any old buttons that they wanted to get rid of, and I did get a response from a lady who handed me a big box full of buttons. Some of them were really old. All of them were really dirty, and so I just put them in a big strainer and ran them, you know, soaked them in soapy water a few times and rinsed them a few times. And then I separated them by color into 6 divided containers, you know, that you get like at Joann Fabrics or something. Oh, that didn't work. Can't get it through there. And now I have enough buttons probably to last me the rest of my crafting life. My daughter came in my craft room one day and she says, you can't die, Mom, because I have no idea what to do with all this stuff. I said, just put a notice out to all the crafters and say, come and get it. Said, don't worry, it'll be gone. And then I announced that I have absolutely no plans to die anytime soon, so not anything she needs to worry about. I love the way this is coming out. It reminds me of, I don't know, like the front of a shirt. All right, let's get these glued on, and then we'll get it glued onto the page. Let's let those sit there for a few minutes and let them dry before I start handling it too much. Okay, I think this looks amazing. So what I need to do now, and I just place these in here just to kind of get an idea of how everything is going to fit. But what I want to do now is I want to glue it down just in the center. And then I'm going to sew the top and the bottom just to make sure, you know, that they're nice and tight. And then I'll be able to fit these 2 cards in here with no problem. So let's find the middle. Look at it, it's all curvy kitty wampus now. But that's okay. I'm really, really happy with that, actually. So let's see, what's the best way to do this? Guess I'll just measure it. Well, it's 9 inches, so I will glue it at 4.5 inches. Get this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So since it's 9 inches, I'm going to glue it at the 4.5 inch mark. And that'll be dead center. Do it this way, and then I'll be sure to get it straight. There we go. Okay, now the middle. Now I can just use my grid line. I think I wanted it this way. Not that it matters. Okay, now I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. I'm going to just sew a zigzag here and a zigzag here, and then I'll be right back. Okay, mission accomplished. Now these journal cards should fit right in here. Like that, and like that. Oh, I am so excited about the way this turned out. I think this just absolutely looks amazing. I love this next to this, and being able to have the 2 journal cards in there, and then also being able to use the mouse that I didn't think I was going to be able to use. So I think this whole spread is very worthy, and I'm going to call him Templeton. So very worthy of Templeton the rat, or the mouse, whatever you want to call it, and I just love it. So I'm going to call this done for today, my little grungy belly band, and I hope you'll join me for my next video, which I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'll figure it out between now and then. I think I'm going to make pockets for these ATCs that I blew it and, you know, went beyond the official measurements, but we'll see. So thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and tune into my next video. And I appreciate each and every one of my subscribers so much. So thank you again, and I will see you in my next video. Happy crafting, and let the serendipity find you. Bye bye, everybody.